Hi everyone, I hope I'm perfectly audible and visible to you. So let's start with this particular session. So again, as usual, as we have this established practice of, every day that we solve approximately 30 plus questions from, yeah, the class has also already started, right, everyone? Right, so let's start with today's session now. So today we will be covering four important passages from the last week's important events. So the first one is related to the resignation of Mr. Karl Stammer, who recently resigned from his post, and the announcement was made from the 10 Downing Street, which is a residential place for the Prime Minister of United Kingdom. Right. So again, it's a very important topic, and there are two important reasons that why this particular topic is extremely relevant for your examination. The first one is, again, it's a resignation from one of the most powerful countries in the world. It's the resignation of the Prime Minister from one of the most powerful countries in the world. And the second point why this particular topic is relevant for your examination, since Brexit, Keir Starmer became the fourth prime minister who was unable to complete his tenure. Right. So let's start with this particular session now. So the first question that we have, so a leadership contest within the United Kingdom Labour Party can be formally triggered without the sitting leader's resignation if a specific percentage of party MPs back a challenger. Currently, what is the exact number of MPs required to meet this 20% threshold? 65 MPs, 81 MPs, 57 MPs, and 30 MPs. So in United Kingdom, we have a different mechanism, and the mechanism is that if the Prime Minister of the ruling party is not resigning from his particular post, then the specific number of MPs can support the challenger of that particular prime minister, and it will trigger the resignation of the sitting leader of the British Parliament. So now, who is the current or what is the current threshold of that 20% MPs? 65, 81, 57, or 30? Correct answer for question number one. Correct answer for question number one. So first important information is that Mr. Keir Starmer was the representative of Labour Party, and the minimum threshold is of 20%, and that is 81 MPs. 81 MPs must back the challenger to trigger the resignation of to trigger the resignation of sitting MPs, right? So for question number one, students, the correct answer is option B. 81 MPs are required to support the challenger of the Prime Minister to trigger the resignation of the member of, trigger the resignation of the Prime Minister of United Kingdom. Now we'll move to question number two. The catastrophic performance of the Labour Party in the May 2026 local election was a decisive factor in Keir Starmer's resignation. Exactly how many council seats did the party lose during these elections? Right. So another important reason which is related with the resignation of the Prime Minister of United Kingdom, Mr. Keir Starmer, and that was the defeat in the recent council elections, recent local elections, right? And the other reasons for that, he made certain political appointments which were not accepted by his political party, right? So you have to tell me that how many seats in these council elections did Labour Party lose overall? Your options are option A 1100 seats, option B 1700 seats, option C 412 seats, and option D 650 seats. Anyone who'd like to answer question number 2? And this was all given in last week's the Hindu analysis. It was everything was right there, right? So correct answer for question number 2. So Labour Party lost approximately 1100 seats in the recently held council elections, and it was a big setback, and this was the primary point which was considered by Labour Party, that Mr. Keir Starmer is losing his grip. Mr. Keir Starmer is losing his grip over the political party, and this became one of the triggering point that why MPs within his political party started supporting the challenger, right? Now we'll move to the next question, that is question number 3. To secure resources for the national health, to secure resources for the National Health Service, the Starmer administration implemented an unpopular fiscal measure that directly affected the welfare of approximately how many pensioners? So another important policy change by Keir Starmer was related to the allocation of sources for the National Health Services. So you have to tell me that exactly what number of pensioners were affected by this particular decision of Mr. Keir Starmer. 1.7 million, 10 million, 14 million, or 5 million. And because the Starmer administration cut down fuel subsidies for approximately how many pensioners? Right. So for question number 3, students, the correct answer is option B. Keir administration or Starmer administration cut down fuel subsidies for approximately 10 million pensioners. That became the second triggering point that why he has to resign from his post. So for question number 3, students, the correct answer is option B. National health सॉरी जो नेशनल हेल्थ सर्विसेज के लिए फंड इन्हांस करना था, दैट इन्हांसमेंट वाज फंड मेड बाय cutting down the fuel subsidies that was being provided to 10 million national pensioners, and it became the second important triggering point that why Mr. Stammer has to resign from his post. Now, following Keir Starmer's resignation, which political figure withdrew their candidacy from the leadership race and officially endorsed Andy Burnham from the post of Prime Minister? So, Peter Mandelson, Rishi Sunak, King Charles III, or Wes Wees Streeting. So, now, students, one thing is absolutely clear when we talk about question number 4. So, there were two primary, you know, person who were involved. They were set to become the next prime minister. Those two individuals were in the race. So the current person who is in the race of becoming the next prime minister in the month of September 2026 is Mr. Andy Burnham. Now, before Andy Burnham, who was the main challenger to Mr. Keir Starmer, so now, and he has officially withdrawn from the race of becoming the next prime minister. You have four options: Peter Mandelson, Rishi Sunak, King Charles III, and V Steering. So we know this Rishi Sunak और किंग चार्ल्स थ्री नहीं हो सकते हैं. ऋषि सुनाक कैर स्टामर के पहले प्राइम मिनिस्टर थे और उन्होंने भी अपना रेजिग्नेशन दिया था, और किंग चार्ल्स थ्री तो बेसिकली इज द किंग एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. सो आउट ऑफ द ऑप्शन ए एंड डी, विच इज द करेक्ट ऑप्शन फॉर क्वेश्चन नंबर 4, currently who is endorsing Andy Burnham as the next prime minister of United Kingdom? So for question number 4, students, the correct option is Wes Streeting. Wes Streeting is the person who has endorsed Andy Burnham as the next prime minister of United Kingdom. So for question number 4, students, the correct option is option D. D for Delhi. Wes Streeting. तो अब जो करंट चैलेंजर है इनका भी नाम प्लीज आप याद रखिएगा. द करंट चैलेंजर इज एंडी बर्हम. Current challenger. Right, Andy Burnham. Now we'll move to question number 5. According to the text, what is the estimated range of GDP contraction experienced by the United Kingdom as a long-term economic consequences of Brexit? So we know this, the entire idea of Brexit started in 2016, and finally on 31st of January 2020 it was decided कि Great Britain ने United Kingdom ने formally European Union से exit कर लिया, and this particular phenomenon was known as Brexit. So after Brexit, जो यूनाइटेड किंगडम का जीडीपी है वो कितना कॉन्ट्रैक्ट या वो कितना श्रिंक हुआ है? 1 to 5%, 2 to 8%, 5 to 10%, और 10 to 14%. What is the correct answer for question number 5? That what is that expected contraction in the GDP of the United Kingdom since United Kingdom has left European Union? You have four options. Option A, 1 to 5%, option B, 2 to 8%, option C, 5 to 10%, or option D, 10 to 14%. Which is the correct option for question number 5? Correct option for question number 5. So for question number 5, students, the correct option is option B. The contraction in the GDP of United Kingdom is somewhere between 2 to 8% since United Kingdom has left European Union, and this phenomenon is known as Brexit, right? तो ये भी आपके लिए important हो सकता है. And since United Kingdom has left European Union, things have not been very rosy for United Kingdom. 4 prime ministers have resigned from their posts. They were not able to complete their tenure. Second important point is the British economy is contracting like anything, it is shrinking like anything, and it is not developing at a very high pace. Though in last 1 year, the GDP was, rising slowly and slowly, but again, this resignation will again act as a hurdle in the growth of the GDP. Right? So we'll move to question number 6 now. Under the Labour Party's internal preferential ballot system, what is the minimum voting threshold a candidate must achieve to be declared the outright winner of the leadership contest? A simple plurality of votes cast, more than 60% of the total votes, more than 50% of the votes, a minimum of 20% of the total constituency votes. Right? So correct answer for question number 6. और इंडिया में भी यही हम सिस्टम फॉलो करते हैं, राइट? Under the Labour Party's internal preferential ballot system, what is the minimum voting threshold a candidate must achieve to be declared outright winner of the leadership contest? If somebody knows about what is preferential ballot system, you will answer this question in one go. What is the correct answer for question number 6? So the correct answer for question number 6 is students option C. Preferential batting में ballot voting में क्या होता है that a person has to secure more than 50% votes. अब मान लीजिए there are 3 candidates और उसमें फिर आपको क्या होता है कि जितने भी वोटर्स होते हैं उनको अपना प्रेफरेंस मार्क करना होता है. दैट हु इज योर प्रेफरेंस नंबर 1, हु इज योर प्रेफरेंस नंबर 2 एंड हु इज योर प्रेफरेंस नंबर 3. तो जब फर्स्ट राउंड का काउंटिंग होता है, सो जो सब लोगों का प्रेफरेंस 1 होता है. जैसे देयर आर 3 कैंडिडेट्स, कैंडिडेट 1, 2 and 3. Now this is a ballot paper. Now in this ballot paper, students, every voter will mark that what is their first preference, what is their second preference and what is their third preference. फिर जब वोट की काउंटिंग होगी तो क्या होगा कि फर्स्ट राउंड की काउंटिंग में जो फर्स्ट प्रेफरेंस वोट्स मिले होंगे कैंडिडेट 1, कैंडिडेट 2 और कैंडिडेट 3 को. तो लेट्स टेक वन एग्जांपल. टोटल 100 वोटर्स थे. अब जो फर्स्ट प्रेफरेंस वोट है वो कैंडिडेट 1 को लेट्स से फर्स्ट राउंड में 51 मिल गए. सेकेंड राउंड में सेकेंड कैंडिडेट को ही रिसीव 29 एंड थर्ड कैंडिडेट रिसीव 20. तो अगर फर्स्ट राउंड में किसी कैंडिडेट ने 50% से ज्यादा फर्स्ट प्रेफरेंस वोट सिक्योर कर लिए देन ही वुड बी डिक्लेयर्ड एज द विनर. बट अगर फर्स्ट राउंड में कोई भी कैंडिडेट 50% वोट सिक्योर नहीं कर पाता है तो जो थर्ड कैंडिडेट होता है वो एलिमिनेट हो जाता है और इसकी जो वोट्स होते हैं, फर्स्ट प्रेफरेंस वोट्स होते हैं, ये ट्रांसफर हो जाते हैं सेकंड और थर्ड कैंडिडेट को, राइट? तो इस तरीके से प्रेफरेंशियल बैलेट सिस्टम ऑपरेट करता है. दिस इज हाउ थिंग्स वर्कड इन यूनाइटेड Kingdom. So this was your question number 6. Now we'll move to question number 7. Keir Starmer's sudden exit from office means the United Kingdom will have witnessed a remarkable period of the political turnover. How many prime ministers has the UK had in a single decade up to this resignation? 7, 5, 14 or 6? How many prime minister does United Kingdom had in last one decade since this entire issue related to Brexit started in 2016? 7, 5, 14 or 6? And this is a signal of profound political instability in United Kingdom. And how many prime ministers have resigned in last one decade? So Keir Starmer became the 7th prime minister to resign from his post in last one decade, right? And this tells you a lot about the kind of political turmoil in United Kingdom. Because if there is no political stability, then policy making becomes very difficult. And when policy making becomes difficult, a lot of people become quite skeptical in investing your country. क्योंकि उनको लगता है कि भाई अभी नया गवर्नमेंट आएगा तो कब किस तरीके से पॉलिसी चेंज हो जाए. Nobody knows about it, right? So that is one important fact that you have to keep in mind. And since 2020, after Boris Johnson, Liza Truss was appointed as the prime minister, then she resigned. Then Keir Starmer was appointed as the prime minister, then he resigned. Then Mr. After Rishi Sunak was appointed as the prime minister, then he resigned. Then Keir Starmer was appointed as the prime minister. Now he has resigned, and Andy Burnham is set to become the next prime minister of United Kingdom, and the entire formal process would be completed by September 2026. So this was your passage number one. It is very important for your examination. Please remember all the relevant points related to your examination. Now we'll move to question number two, students. Now we'll move to question number two. Sorry, passage number two. Passage number two is related to one of the most important topics for your examination. Every year this topic is important, and this topic is International Yoga Day. International Yoga Day. So let's have a very brief discussion about International Yoga Day as well, and keep on answering the question, because this is something which everyone knows about. And in last week on 21st of June we celebrated International Yoga Day. So this is the passage that for your reference. Now moving on to the next point. Which Indian city has been designated to host the main national celebration for the 12th International Day of Yoga on June 21, 2026? Jaipur, New Delhi, Kolkata or Ahmedabad? Now which was the host city for 12th International Day of Yoga or 12th International Yoga Day? Which city hosted the celebrations for the 12th International Yoga Day? Jaipur, New Delhi, Kolkata or Ahmedabad? Which is the correct option for question number one? Anyone who would like to answer the question? Question number one. Which is the correct option for question number one? Anyone who would like to answer the question? Host city for International Yoga Day. So for question number one, students, the correct option is option. The correct option for question number one is option C. Kolkata was declared as the host city for 12th International Yoga Day celebration. इसलिए आप लोगों ने देखा होगा that the Prime Minister of India was in Kolkata to celebrate 12th International Yoga Day. So for question number one, students, the correct option is option C, Kolkata. अब विशाल हर चीज को हमें गुजरात से रिलेट नहीं कर देना. That Narendra Modi was the Prime Minister of Gujarat for so many years, so the entire celebration was hosted by Ahmedabad. The correct answer is Kolkata, and there is a political relevance as well why Kolkata was designated, because कोलकाता में इस बार काफी लंबे टाइम बाद भारतीय जनता पार्टी की for the first time they came to power, so they wanted to make people of Kolkata feel really special. So under the Yoga 365 campaign launched by the Ministry of Ayush, participants who complete the 100 days of free live yoga sessions are awarded with which specific official certification? योग मित्रा, आयुष योद्धा, योग गुरु और स्वास्थ्य प्रकृति. नाउ एनीवन हु हैज कंप्लीटेड, किसी ने भी अगर क्या किया 100 डेज का अपना जो सर्टिफिकेट मतलब लाइव योगा सेशंस कंप्लीट किए, ऑर्गेनाइज्ड बाय और द कैंपेन लॉन्च्ड बाय मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ आयुष. और इस कैंपेन का नाम भी आप याद रखेंगे, द कैंपेन वाज नेम्ड योगा 365. इस कैंपेन के अंडर इफ एनीवन हैज कंप्लीटेड 100 डेज ऑफ फ्री लाइव योगा सेशंस, तो उसको कौन सा सर्टिफिकेट मिलता है? व्हाट इज द नेम ऑफ दैट सर्टिफिकेट? योग मित्रा, आयुष योद्धा, योग गुरु और स्वास्थ्य प्रकृति. So for question number two, students, the correct option is option A. The person who has completed 100 days of free live yoga sessions would be awarded with the certificate of Yog Mitra. Yog Mitra. So for question number two, students, the correct option is option A. Now we'll move to question number two. Now we'll move to question number three actually. A unique world record was established in Jaipur where more than 220 patients who had undergone knee or hip surgeries successfully performed the Tadasana mountain pose together. What was the official name given to this initiative? Yog Samavesh, Silver Run Event, Sage Movement, Golden Warrior Walk. So 2020 220 पेशेंट्स जयपुर में ऐसे थे जिनका हिप और नी सर्जरी हुआ था, उन्होंने ताड़ासना परफॉर्म किया. व्हाट वाज द ऑफिशियल नेम फॉर दिस इनिशिएटिव? योग समावेश, सिल्वर रन इवेंट, सेज मूवमेंट और गोल्डन वॉरियर वॉक. करेक्ट आंसर फॉर क्वेश्चन नंबर 3. And this particular initiative was named Golden Warrior Walk. Golden Warrior Walk. So for question number 3, students, the correct option is option D. It was named as Golden Warrior Walk. Right. Now we'll move to question number 4. In alignment with the theme of the 12th International Day of Yoga, the Indian government is strategically targeting the silver economy by promoting yoga as a preventive healthcare solution. According to the text, what is the estimated value of this sector in India? Option A 55,000 crore, option B 73,000 crore, option C 69,000 crore, or option D 81,000 crore. Which is the correct option for question number 4? And what is silver economy? Let's talk about what is silver economy. So silver economy is related to economy of senior citizens. So what is the total valuation of this economy? 55,000 crore, 73,000 crore, 69,000 crore, or 81,000 crore rupees. Which is the correct option for question number 4? And silver economy is basically, silver economy caters to the senior citizens, and the current valuation of this particular economy is 73,000 crore rupees. So for question number 4 students, the correct option is option B, 73,000 crore rupees, the current valuation of silver economy, the economy which caters to the senior citizens. Now, as a key highlight of the 12th International Yoga Day celebration, how many specially developed yoga protocols were inducted to help individuals fight non-communicable diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and obesity? Option A 10 protocols, option B 15 protocols, option C 5 protocols, or option D 20 protocols. How many protocols were introduced to fight non communicable diseases through yoga? 10, 15, 5, or 20? So for question number 5 students, the correct answer is option B 15. My bad. The correct answer for question number 5 is 10 protocols, 10 specially designed protocols were inducted to fight individuals against the non-communicable diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure and obesity into the national framework, right? तो ये आप लोग please याद रखिएगा, total 10 protocols. Etymologically, the word yoga is derived from the ancient Sanskrit root word yuj. According to the provided text, what does this root word literally mean? To breathe deeply, to heal completely, to meditate peacefully, to yoke, or to unite. What is the correct or what is the literal meaning of the term yuj, which is the root word for the word yoga? Which is the root word for word yoga? I'll answer that question, Vishal, at the end of the session. That what is the best mechanism of which is the best uh, technique to cover current affairs. So for question number 6 students, what is the correct word? So for question number 6 students, the correct answer is to yoke or to unite. अब इंटरनेशनल योगा डे के बारे में कुछ चीजें याद रखिएगा. 12th इंटरनेशनल योगा डे 21st जून. होस्ट सिटी कोलकाता. थीम योगा. Yoga for healthy aging, right? And this was the 12th International Yoga Day. Resolution was adopted in 2014. Resolution related to International Yoga Day was adopted in 2014 and first Yoga Day was celebrated in 2015. So 15 to 20 6 editions, and from 21 to 26 another 6 edition. That's why in 2026 we celebrated the 12th edition of International Yoga Day, right? Hi everyone, let's continue with the session now. So this was the second passage. Now we'll move to passage number 3. So now this particular passage, passage number 3, is specifically related to the recent amendments notified by the Union government in the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act Rules 2011. This Foreign Contribution Regulation Act came into existence in 2010, and recently the government of India has notified certain amendment in the rules notified under the FCRA Act, right? तो अब हम उन्हीं चीज़ों को लेकर के डिस्कशन करेंगे, बहुत डिटेल डिस्कशन होगा. जब हम लास्ट वीक में न्यूज़पेपर एनालिसिस कवर कर रहे थे तो हमने काफ़ी डिटेल में इसके बारे में, इस टॉपिक के बारे में डिस्कस किया था. एंड एट दैट टाइम ऑल्सो आई टोल्ड यू दैट दिस टॉपिक इज रेलेवेंट फॉर योर एग्जामिनेशन, सो कीप ऑन मार्किंग or keep on noting down the important points, right? So let's talk about Foreign Contribution Regulation Act now. Under the newly amended Foreign Contribution Regulation Act rules, which ministry is responsible for notifying the changes and regulating all foreign donations to NGOs? Ministry of Finance, Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Home Affairs, or Ministry of Law and Justice? Which is the correct option for question number 3? Question number 1. Which is the correct option for question number 1? Which particular ministry is responsible for notifying these amended rules under Foreign Contribution Regulation Act? Option A, Ministry of Finance. Option B, Ministry of External Affairs. Option C, Ministry of Home Affairs, or option D, Ministry of Law and Justice. Now this requires a lot of common sense and a basic understanding of the topic. If you have that basic understanding, you can easily solve the question. So now please remember this, though it might feel कि finance और economy से related topic है, तो इसका जो आंसर है वो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस हो सकता है, बट द करेक्ट आंसर फॉर क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 इज स्टूडेंट्स that these amended rules were notified by the Ministry of Home Affairs. अमित शाह का चेहरा याद रखिएगा आप, बस जब भी हम FCRA रूल्स की बात करेंगे, प्लीज रिमेंबर दैट फेस मिस्टर अमित Shah, Ministry of Home Affairs. Right. So for question number 1, students, the correct option is option C, Ministry of Home Affairs. Now this was a very basic question, easy to difficulty के अगर हम scale पे इसको measure करें. So it was a easy question. Now we'll move to question number 2. According to the updated guidelines, what is the maximum number of permitted activity categories under the social purpose classification? 16, 19, 22 or 30? 16, 19, 22 or 30. So we know this, students, that under the amended rules of 2026 notified by the Ministry of Home Affairs, now the government has made it absolutely clear, or the Ministry of Home Affairs have made it absolutely clear, that there are only 5 different categories. Under these 5 different categories, NGOs can operate. Apart from these 5 categories, no different category was allowed by the Ministry of Home Affairs to, deal with. Educational category हो गई, religious category हो गई, right? Economic category हो गई, cultural category हो गई, right? So these are the different, social category हो गई. So these are the different categories under which an NGO can operate in India. So you have to tell me how many activities were permitted बाय द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ होम अफेयर्स. अगर कोई एनजीओ सोशल सेक्टर में काम कर रहा है तो कितने तरीके की एक्टिविटीज में अपने आप को इन्वॉल्व कर सकता है? 16, 19, 22 और 30. क्वेश्चन नंबर 2. So the correct answer for question number 2 is, students, option D, 30. 30 activities have been classified under social category, and a person can involve, or an NGO can perform these 30 activities when it is operating under social category. Now we'll move to question number 3. If an NGO utilizes foreign funds for an unapproved purpose or in an unauthorized state or UT, what is the minimum statutory fine it will face? Rupees 25,000, 50,000, 10 lakh or 1 lakh? This was the exact information which I discussed in very detail. मैंने बहुत डिटेल में आप लोगों को बताया था. And there is also a second condition or a second प्रपोजल टू दिस पर्टिकुलर फाइन वाला एलिमेंट। तो आपको बताना है कि मिनिमम फाइन कितना है। तो अब पहले पूरा कॉन्सेप्ट हम समझ लेते हैं। सो सपोज इफ एन एनजीओ इज ऑपरेटिंग अंडर द सोशल डोमेन and it received, let's say, a fund of rupees 10 lakh for building public toilets. Now out of this 10 lakh rupees इन्होंने क्या किया ना, this was the fund, ये अप्रूव्ड फंड किस चीज के लिए था, टॉयलेट्स को बिल्ड करने के लिए। नाउ दिस एनजीओ विच रिसीव 10 लाख रुपीज फॉर बिल्डिंग टॉयलेट्स, उन्होंने क्या किया कि 10 लाख रुपए में से उन्होंने 5 लाख रुपीज किसी अनअप्रूव्ड पर्पस के लिए यूज किया। 5 लाख रुपीज उन्होंने टॉयलेट बिल्ड करने में यूज किया, बट 5 लाख रुपीज उन्होंने अनअप्रूव्ड पर्पसेस के लिए यूज किया। तो अगर कोई एनजीओ अनअप्रूव्ड पर्पस के लिए एलोकेटेड फंड्स का यूज करती है तो उसको मिनिमम कितना फाइन देना होगा। सो द करेक्ट आंसर फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन इज 1 लाख रुपीज। नाउ देयर इज वन मोर कैच टू दिस, एंड व्हाट इज दैट कैच, कि आपको मिनिमम 1 लाख रुपीज का फाइन तो पे ही करना है एनजीओ को, अगर वो अनऑथराइज या अनअप्रूव्ड पर्पसेस के लिए लोन को यूज कर रहे हैं। बट ये मिनिमम फाइन है। अगर जो दूसरा एक इसमें प्री रिक्विजिट क्या है, दैट 30% fine can be 30% of the unapproved fund, utilization of the unapproved fund, or 1 lakh rupees, whichever is higher, whichever is higher। इसका मतलब क्या है कि आपने जो अनअप्रूव्ड पर्पस के लिए फंड्स को यूज किया है उसका 30% या 1 लाख रुपीज, दोनों में से जो भी ज्यादा फाइन होगा वो आप पर इंपोज किया जाएगा, बट मिनिमम फाइन इज रुपीज 1 लाख। लेट्स से कि जो अनअप्रूव्ड फंड था वही 1 लाख रुपीज का सिर्फ था, कि आपने 1 लाख रुपीज सिर्फ अनअप्रूव्ड पर्पसेस के लिए यूज किया, तो 1 लाख का 30% वुड बी 30,000। तो इस केस में क्या होगा कि ये जो 1 लाख रुपीज का मिनिमम फाइन है ये ज्यादा होगा। तो 1 लाख रुपीज या 30% ऑफ द 30% ऑफ द अनअप्रूव्ड फंड, जो ज्यादा होगा दोनों में से वही फाइन देना पड़ेगा उस पर्टिकुलर एनजीओ को, अगर उन्होंने किसी अनअप्रूव्ड पर्पस के लिए फंड्स को यूटिलाइज किया है। सो फॉर क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 स्टूडेंट्स, द करेक्ट ऑप्शन इज ऑप्शन डी। नाउ विल मूव टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 4। Under the revised norms, how many long do existing FCRA registered NGOs have to comply with the new regulatory changes? Option A 6 months, option B 1 year, option C 2 years, or option D 3 years. Which is the correct option for question number 4? Under the revised norms, how long do existing FCRA registered NGOs has to comply with the new regulatory changes? 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years? Correct answer for question number 4. So students, the correct answer for question number 4 is that all the existing NGOs, they have to comply with the recently notified FCRA rules within a period of 1 year। अगर वो 1 ईयर के अंदर ये सारे जो एग्जिस्टिंग नॉर्म्स हैं या जो रिसेंटली नोटिफाइड रूल्स हैं उनको अगर उनसे वो कंप्लाई नहीं करते हैं, देन दे हैव टू पे अ फाइन एज वेल, और उनका जो लाइसेंस है वो भी कैंसिल किया जा सकता है, राइट। सो फॉर क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 स्टूडेंट्स, द करेक्ट ऑप्शन इज ऑप्शन बी 1 ईयर, दैट ऑल द एग्जिस्टिंग एनजीओज दे हैव टू कंप्लाई विद द न्यूली नोटिफाइड रूल्स विद इन अ पीरियड ऑफ 1 ईयर। नाउ विल मूव टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 5। Associations having foreign nationals as key functionaries will ordinarily not be eligible for FCRA registration. Which of the following groups is explicitly exempted from these restrictions? Now, persons of Indian origin, non-resident citizens, non-resident Indians, overseas citizens of India holding foreign passports, or dual citizens of neighboring countries. So now we know this under the recently amended rules, the government have made it absolutely clear कि अगर कोई भी एनजीओ उसमें अगर कोई फॉरेन नेशनल इंपॉर्टेंट पोजीशन को होल्ड कर रहा है, देन दैट पर्टिकुलर एनजीओ वुड नॉट बी गिवन अ लाइसेंस अंडर द एफसीआरए रूल। एफसीआरए के अंडर क्या होगा, बेसिकली वो किसी फॉरेन एंटिटी से फंड कलेक्ट नहीं कर सकते हैं। नाउ विच इज एन एग्जेम्पशन टू दिस पर्टिकुलर रूल, कि वो पर्सन अगर कौन सी कैटेगरी का हो तो बेसिकली वो फॉरेन फंडिंग सिक्योर कर सकते हैं। करेक्ट आंसर फॉर क्वेश्चन नंबर 5, पर्सन्स ऑफ इंडियन ओरिजिन। So associations having foreign nationals, associations having foreign nationals other than the persons of Indian origin, other than the persons of Indian origin would not be considered under the FCRA registration rules, right? तो अगर किसी एनजीओ में या एसोसिएशन में देयर इज अ पर्सन ऑफ इंडियन ओरिजिन हु इज अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर ग्रुप, देन दैट पर्टिकुलर एनजीओ कैन सीक द फंडिंग फ्रॉम सम फॉरेन sources. So for question number 5, the correct option is option A. Now we'll move to question number 6. Under the educational purpose category, awareness programs on constitutional rights and civic responsibilities must strictly exclude which type of nature or content? Ideological content, proselytization, political nature, or speculative content. So, if a particular organization or NGO is operating under for the educational purpose, and they are basically spreading awareness programs, or they are launching awareness campaigns on constitutional rights and civic responsibilities, तो वो किस स्पेसिफिक टाइप का कंटेंट उनको एक्सक्लूड करना होगा? आइडियोलॉजिकल कंटेंट, प्रोसिलिटाइजेशन, पॉलिटिकल नेचर और स्पेकुलेटिव कंटेंट. So for question number 6, students, the correct option is for question number 6, political nature. Any content which is of political nature must be excluded by these NGOs if they are operating under the educational domain and they are launching awareness programs on constitutional rights and civic responsibilities. Now question number 7. Earlier amendments required NGOs to give an undertaking regarding national sovereignty. The new amendments, however, significantly expanded the definition of a key functionary to include which of the following? Chief Executive Officers, Karta of Hindu Undivided Family, Statutory Auditors, or Advisory Council members. So now, under the amended rules of 2026, out of the 4 options, which of the following has been included in the definition of the key functionary? Chief Executive Officers of the companies, Karta of a Hindu Undivided Family, Statutory Advisors, or Advisory Council Ministers. Charvi Sridhar B. Pari Chaudhary C. Amsika Reddy A. No, I'm asking about question number 7. So for question number 7, students, the correct answer is option B. Karta of Hindu Undivided Family is included under the definition of key functionary under the recently notified FCRA rules 2026. So for question number 7, students, the correct option is option B. Karta of a Hindu Undivided Family. Question number 7, the correct option is option B. Option B. Right. Now we'll move to the next passage, passage number 4. Now this passage is very important for your static GK. This is a very important passage from the Indian polity, and you know this why we are dealing with this particular topic as of now. Because last week we observed the 51st anniversary of, or the anniversary of national emergency imposed by Indira Gandhi in 1975. Right. So that's why we are discussing about this particular topic, and every year this topic is taught in classroom or in online classes or offline classes. हर जगह ये topic पढ़ाया जाता है. That is chapter 18 or part 18 of Indian Constitution, article 352 to 360, which talks about the provisions related to national emergency. Right. So you have to give the exact answers of the questions, because again this particular topic is relevant for every law entrance examination happening or in our country. Right. So let's start with this particular passage now. In June 2026, the government of India observed Samvidhan Hatya Divas to mark how many years since the imposition of the landmark 1975 national emergency? Option A 40 years, option B 45 years, option C 51 years, and option D 60 years. Which is the correct option for question number 1? Which is the correct option for question number 1? कौन सा एनिवर्सरी हमने मार्क किया अभी? Anyone who would like to answer question number 1? It was imposed on 25th of January 1975. हमने 2026 में कौन सा एनिवर्सरी ऑब्जर्व किया है? Exactly. So for question number 1, it is a very easy peasy question. For question number 1, students, the correct option is 51 years. अब दो चीजें याद रखिएगा, that national emergency was imposed on 25th of June 1975. In June 2024, the government of India declared that we will observe 25th June as Samvidhan Hatya Divas, and on 25th of June 2025 we observed first Samvidhan Hatya Divas and also observed 50th anniversary of national, and this national emergency imposed by Indira Gandhi was on such erroneous grounds that it is criticized till this date as 25th of June. Many experts consider 25th of June as the black day in the history of Indian democracy or constitutional democracy. Prior to the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1978, which of the following terms was listed as the third ground for the proclamation of a national emergency under Article 352? Internal disturbance, armed rebellion, political instability, or civic disobedience. Question number 2, students, it is a very important question. On the same ground, the answer for question number 2 is the ground on which Indira Gandhi imposed national emergency on 25th of June 1975. This is a small hint for your for question number 2. Anyone who would like to answer question number 2? Exactly. So for question number 2, students, the correct answer is internal disturbance. So Indira Gandhi imposed national emergency on the grounds of internal disturbance. But students, this particular phrase internal disturbance is vague in nature because it is not possible to give an exact definition that what is internal disturbance. Right. So what happened that through 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978, the term internal disturbance was replaced with armed rebellion. Now, in 1975, the emergency was imposed, and in 1976, Indira Gandhi brought a very historic amendment which is known as 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. And through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976, Indira Gandhi tried to change the maximum portion of our constitution. That's why 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976 is also known as mini constitution. Mini constitution. So for question number 2, students, the correct option is option A, internal disturbance. This ground पर Indira Gandhi ने national emergency imposed की थी, and finally it was replaced with the term armed rebellion through 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978. Right. Now we'll move to question number 3. According to the current provisions of Article 352, what type of recommendation is mandatory for the President to receive from the Cabinet before proclamation or proclaiming a national emergency? Verbal recommendation, written recommendations, joint parliamentary resolution, or two-thirds legislative assent? Now it's a very easy question. Use your common sense and answer question number 3. What kind of recommendation is required for the President of India to proclaim national emergency under Article 352? Part 18, Article 352 to 360 talks about the provisions related to emergency. Article 352 is national emergency. Article 356 is state emergency, or also known as president rule. And Article 316 is known as financial emergency. Right? So a written recommendation by the cabinet is mandatory for proclaiming national emergency. Right? So for question number 3, students, the correct option is option B, a written recommendation is mandatory. Now, and we know this is established practice, right, that the President of India works as per the aid and advice given by the Council of Ministers. So for question number 3, students, option B, written recommendation is required. Now, if a proclamation of national emergency is issued while the Lok Sabha stands dissolved, within how many days of its first sitting must the newly constituted Lok Sabha approve it, provided the Rajya Sabha has already done so? 14 days, 30 days, 45 days, or 60 days? If national emergency was imposed while the Lok Sabha was dissolved, तो वंस द लोकसभा इज री इलेक्टेड, तो कितने दिनों में री अप्रूव करना होता है? 14 डेज, 30 डेज, 45 डेज और 60 डेज? क्वेश्चन नंबर 4. So for question number 4, students, the correct option is 30 days. Let's understand. So the proclamation of emergency can be made when the house is not in session, but within 1 month, it requires approval of both the houses of the parliament. Now the next important point is, what was your question? Let's take one situation where national emergency was imposed but the Lok Sabha was dissolved. इसका मतलब ये होता है कि आपको राज्यसभा से तो 1 महीने के अंदर आपको अप्रूवल लेना ही होगा, लेकिन जिस दिन वापस से लोकसभा री इलेक्ट होती है, मेंबर्स री इलेक्ट होते हैं, विद इन 1 मंथ ऑफ द फर्स्ट सिटिंग ऑफ द मेंबर्स, द इमरजेंसी शुड गेट अ फॉर्मल अप्रूवल फ्रॉम द लोकसभा एज वेल. राइट? सो दिस वाज योर क्वेश्चन नंबर 4. नाउ विल मूव टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 5. In which landmark judicial case did the Supreme Court explicitly rule that the proclamation of a national emergency can be challenged in a court on the grounds of mala-fide or extraneous facts? Raj Narayan versus Indira Gandhi, ADM Jabalpur versus Shivakant Shukla, Minerva Mills case, or Keswananda Bharti versus State of Kerala 1973. So we know this, we know this. So this is a very historic case and it is known as ADM Jabalpur versus Shivakant Shukla. So in ADM Jabalpur versus Shivakant Shukla, the court made it absolutely clear that national emergency is not shielded from the judicial review. The grounds for the imposition of national emergency can be challenged in the court of law if emergency was imposed on some malafide or erroneous grounds, then it can be challenged in the court of law. So for question number 5, this is a very important question. For question number 5, students, the correct option is option B, ADM Jabalpur versus Shivakant Shukla. Right? Now we'll move to question number 6. Under Article 358, the automatic suspension of the 6 fundamental rights guaranteed by Article 19 occurs exclusively when an emergency is declared on which specific ground? War or internal disturbance, war or external aggression, armed rebellion or internal disturbance, armed rebellion or external aggression. So Article 19, all those 6 fundamental rights which are 6 freedoms which are provided under Article 19, these 6 freedoms are suspended कौन से स्पेसिफिक ग्राउंड पे जब नेशनल इमरजेंसी इंपोज की जाती है? वॉर और इंटरनल डिस्टर्बेंस, वॉर और एक्सटर्नल अग्रेशन, आर्म्ड रिबेलियन और इंटरनल डिस्टर्बेंस, आर्म्ड रिबेलियन और एक्सटर्नल अग्रेशन. So for question number 6, students, the correct option is option B. When an emergency is imposed on the grounds of war or external aggression, then 6 freedoms provided under Article 19 can be suspended. Right? So for question number 6, students, the correct option is option B. Now we'll move to question number 7. According to the post 44th constitutional amendment framework, what specific type of majority is required in the Lok Sabha to pass a resolution disapproving the continuation of a national emergency? Here the question is asking about the disapproval or the discontinuation of the national emergency. Special majority, absolute majority, effective majority or simple majority. Which majority is required to revoke the national emergency? Special, absolute, effective or simple? Question number 7. So a simple majority is required to invoke national emergency. A simple majority is required. So for question number 7, students, the correct option is option D. Simple majority is required for revoking national emergency. Now this is the last question. Which historic judicial ruling served as the immediate domestic legal trigger for the declaration of the internal emergency on June 25, 1975? The Supreme Court's absolute stay order, the Delhi High Court electoral verdict, the Allahabad High Court verdict by Justice Jagmohan Lal Sinha, the suspension of the Representation of the People's Act by the Parliament. So question number 8, it's a very important question. This question, the answer of question number 8 was the reason why Indira Gandhi imposed national emergency in 1975. And the correct answer for question number 8 is, so in Indira Nehru Gandhi versus Raj Narayan, the Allahabad High Court set aside the outcome of the, or set aside the election of the Indira Gandhi. In Indira Nehru Gandhi versus Raj Narayan, the Allahabad High Court set aside the elections election of Indira Gandhi, and after that particular verdict by the Allahabad High Court, eventually Indira Gandhi declared national emergency on 25th of June 1975. So today we solved I mean 4 passages as per the requirement or as per the pattern of CLAT UG entrance examination. I hope you must have find this session relevant for your examination. So today, from today onwards, we have started the fresh week. So please keep on following the newspaper analysis every day, so that while solving this particular quiz every week on Monday at 5:30, you can have a substantial information about the important topics and the important information. Now, somebody at the beginning of the class asked that what is the best way to cover GK, daily, monthly, or weekly? So that is a pattern how you should cover GK. Daily, weekly and monthly. First, you should try to read newspaper every day. वहां से हमें कुछ फैक्ट्स लिखने हैं, फिर उन फैक्ट्स को हमें वीकली रिवाइज करना है, और वीकली हमें देखना है कि कोई इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट मिस तो नहीं हो गया. एंड फाइनली योर क्लास नोट्स along with the monthly compendium provided by the institute is sufficient or is more than sufficient to cover current affairs and GK. If you are reading newspaper, you are reading monthly compendium and also covering class notes. So these should be your 3 primary sources for the current affairs and GK, right? Because when we talk about current affairs and GK, a lot of content is available in the market. So please बहुत ज़्यादा confuse नहीं करना है. Sir, what is the ideal mock score now? So students, when normally if there is a question that what is the ideal mock score now, so there is nothing called ideal mock score now. What matters the most is that how you will perform on 6th of December between 2 to 4 p.m. That is the most important thing. Right? And your performance on 6th of December between 2 to 4 is not is not related to your mock scores. The only thing which matters is कि mock scores में बस आपको ये identify करना है that which are your weak areas or which are the areas where you are committing the maximum mistakes, and at the end of the day you have to ensure कि आप उन mistakes को दोबारा commit ना करें, right? So these are the few things which you should keep in mind. mock का score अगर बहुत कम है, demotivate नहीं है, बहुत ज़्यादा है, बहुत खुश नहीं होना, because at the end of the day please remember this is just a mock, it's not the actual CLAT. You have to take a lot of inspirations from these mocks, but these mocks will not decide that how far you will go when it comes to actual CLAT. If you think your marks are low, keep on working hard, keep grilling yourself, थोड़ा सा टाइम एक्सटेंड करिए और अपने वीक एरियाज को आइडेंटिफाई करिए. संडे को मॉक होता है, जिस भी दिन आपका मॉक होता है, मॉक का एनालिसिस देखिए और आप ये देखिए कि आपके वीक एरियाज क्या हैं. आपको इंश्योर करना है कि अपकमिंग मॉक्स में आप वो मिस्टेक फिर से रिपीट ना करें. तो द मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ मॉक इज to ensure कि आप अपनी mistakes को repeat ना करें, right? So this is it. I guess you don't have any more questions. Yeah, so this is all about today's session, and if you have loved this particular session, then please do like the video, and yeah, we'll see you tomorrow at 7:45 in the morning with another session of the Hindu analysis. And as we have set a pattern, we will do our analysis within 1 hour along with the questions. So I'll take you leave now. Take a good care of yourself and people around you, and yes, that's it from my side. Bye everyone. Bye bye. Thank you so much for giving your valuable time to me. Yeah, bye. On that note, I'll just say goodbye. Bye everyone.